Okay, so I am showing top of the hour. All right, so hi everybody, welcome to another LED series. Today, our presenter is going to be Olivia on business intelligence and why we should pay attention to it and why it's important and how to utilize it at our company. So it's a really great topic, really excited about it. Just want to give a quick introduction to Olivia for those of you who don't know her personally. But Olivia Sue is an internal compliance and project data manager. She holds a BA in accounting and master in economics. She has been working with ECC for just over 7 years with a healthy balance of both the corporate and the field operation experience. Olivia spearheaded the Camp Lejeune data management system, deployed a mobile data collection app to collect safety, production, and quality control data in 10 weeks, automated the daily reporting, submitting, approval, and filing process. She has built numerous complex Power BI reports covering project operation data for construction and emergency response projects to corporate level administrative reports. So without further ado, Olivia, welcome and go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thank you, Natalie, for your introduction. And I want to thank everyone for taking an hour out of your busy day to attend today's LED series. I intend to share some knowledge about a useful tool that I found and that is available to all of us and hopefully prompt you to take advantage of it. We will have a short 3-minute quiz at the end of today's session. Very, very short, very simple, I guarantee. And the winner will get a small prize of a $25 gift card. So let's get right into it. We all heard about intelligence. What pops up in your mind when you heard about that word intelligence? Please type your answers in the chat. Natalie, would you kindly monitor that for me too?
Sure.
Sure. While everyone put down your popcorn and find your keyboard and put in what you think of intelligence, let me remind everyone to put your question in the chat and we'll have a Q&A session at the end.
Could you please repeat the question?
Sure. When you heard about the word intelligence, what first thing pops up in your mind?
So when you think about intelligence, what pops up in your mind?
I'm not able to write anything into the meeting chat. Maybe that's a thing of my end. There we go. Someone just, okay, good.
Awareness. Thank you, Bridget. IQ, information.
Yes.
AI, knowledge, smarts. Another AI, smart. Knowledge, information. The organized knowledge that allows us to make decisions. Knowledge, AI, skills and knowledge, informational. Decision making, critical thinking.
Awesome. Yeah. Security, look at that. We all like instantly think about, IQ, the intelligence quotient, and we also talk about EQ, your social intelligence, your emotional intelligence, and AI. A lot of us mentioned AI, the artificial intelligence. And today we're going to talk about business intelligence and a very useful tool in this BI suite. Data has becoming a key asset for every business. Amazon is analyzing your data to push items on top of your search that you're most likely to purchase. Netflix is analyzing your viewing habits and your preferences to push recommendations for you, and also inform the production side to produce more popular shows. So that drives subscription for Netflix. And another example closer to home for our industry is JE Dawn. It's a construction company that utilized a virtual visualization software that clash design and schedule together, that was able to save them 12 weeks of pre-construction time and saved them $11 million out of a $60 million civil project. Business intelligence used to be referred to as the system that shares information across the organization. Nowadays, it comprises the strategy and technologies enterprises use to transform data into actionable insights. The strategy could be boiled down to leveraging data as our strategic asset and make data-driven decisions. Technologies, on the other hand, does include a variety of softwares, applications, data infrastructure, data governance best practices, and so much more. But today, we're only going to focus on one of the tools in the BI suite, that is Microsoft Power BI. There are many other BI softwares out there. There's, Looker from Google, there's Tableau, there's Click, which has an office just down the road from Burlingame. We have Sisense, all the other ones. But for ECC, there are multiple advantages Power BI brought to the table for us. First of all, it is native to our Microsoft ecosystem. We are utilizing the whole suite of Microsoft softwares for our day-to-day business. And it also has all the standard key components for a modern BI solution. It is a mature product since it has been developing since 2011. Best yet, it is free to us, as most of us already have the O365 E5 license. So it's no additional cost for our users to use Power BI. Let me do a quick poll. Raise your hand if you use Excel in your work. And if you don't have camera on, good. If you don't have camera on, you can click on the thumb up button on Teams. Yeah, we got a lot of raised hands and thumb ups. Excel is really great, it's powerful, but there are a lot of limitations, especially when it comes to building dynamic visualizations and advanced analysis. Power BI is absolutely the drastic upgrade from Excel, with the capacity to deal with large sets of data, create interactive dashboards, build dynamic visualization with cross-filtering features, and drill-through abilities. And my favorite, the ability to automatically refresh the underlying data set. I will demonstrate a lot of these features in the demo later. There are some very obvious advantages. After we establish the data pipeline, we can standardize the data cleansing steps and KPI calculation. You no longer rely on a traditional manual delivery of the routine reports. Power BI will consistently deliver the standardized report with the updated data for you, eliminate the version control issue, making sure everybody at the meeting is looking at the same sets of data, comparing apples to apples. The data will only be available to the person that you decided to share with. And depending on their role, you can set up read-only access or collaborative access. And they will have to log in as themselves to consume the data report content. Therefore, it's secure. Our data is secure. Once your report is published through Power BI service, you can access those reports via a web browser or mobile devices. And everybody can and should think like a business stakeholder. Channel your blue energy. are you or your team utilize your time wisely? We can hand over the repetitive, low value adding activities to machine and spend your time on activity that generates most value. Everyday analysis pays off. Why? BI deployment will be the pivotal leap every company in traditional industry needs. As a lot of you already seen or heard, ECC is moving towards mobile data collection. We're rolling out the mobile apps for a lot of projects. Without a BI strategy, we'll just have a whole lot of data scattered on our server, on our database, and struggle to find meaningful insight. Department leaders and line manager can utilize their automation technology and the self-updating reports to stay on top of their department or project performance goals. Field employee will have the ability to focus on managing subcontractor performances and their safety quality metrics while minimizing the desk time that they have to spend generating redundant work, generating redundant paperwork. BI can take over a lot of those paperwork for them. Modern BI solutions consolidates multiple data sources together. It can pull our schedule data, budget data, cost data, manpower, contract, and many other key performance data into one dashboard where management can review and the critical performance data, prioritize their goals, identify risks, and plan for resource allocation. With the help of augmented analysis, we can manage our subcontractors' performance in a much detailed level, including monitoring their manpower by trade, their daily production, their submittal turnaround time, their rework correction time, their schedule, just to name a few. And ECC will also have the ability to establish a trusting relationship with our client by providing timely performance reports, hence improve our CPARS evaluation. An interesting note for our client in Lejeune was very impressed about what BI can do. They are looking into implementing a similar function in their organization. Last but not least, by analyzing our past performance in context and trying to understand the factor that influence the best or worst result, we can discover the key to future growth and build a more effective and competitive business model, hence improve our bottom line. Next, I will do a quick 10 to 15 minutes demonstration on Power BI Desktop with made up data for environmental construction company XYZ. Let's hop right over. Once you launch Power BI Desktop, right here on the welcome page, you can see there are some tutorials about how to get started with Power BI. You can also access the BI community forum from here. You can ask specific questions on how to build a matrix or visuals and seek solutions. In fact, I learned a lot of my Power BI skills from here. For now, let's exit the welcome page. Today, we're going to use a sample data set that I basically just made up, but from Excel. But don't let this fool you that Power BI has the ability to connect to all the major databases, including SQL database, Oracle, SAP, Google, AWS, whatever off-the-shelf app or software you're using, they're probably hosting their data on one of these database services. You see, after I load the sample data, you will have a view of the navigator where you can preview the data. making sure this is the data I want to use for this report. You will have the option to load or transform data. For now, I'm going to click on the transform data. Yeah, so it brings up a Power Query editor. Well, I can do a lot of the data transformation steps here. The best part of this Power Query editor is all your data cleansing, consolidation, calculation steps are memorized. You don't have to repeat this process. Every time somebody gave you a raw data, you don't have to repeat yourself and cleanse the data in Excel anymore. I'm going to show a few simple examples of what could be done in this Power Query. For instance, from a larger scale, it doesn't matter if somebody works 15 minutes more or 30 minutes more in terms of man hour. I will round this up into a whole number. And you see we have some data here that's current contract value, original contract value. I can rename this column just so that I don't confuse my user or myself that what this column is. And I can change the profit into a currency format. And Power BI already recognized my date column as a date. That's very good. And if let's say some of the divisions are no longer active or have been restructured, I can filter out that division as well. So for now, I'm going to close and apply this data set. Here you can see this is the main interface of Power BI Desktop as it's loading data. And we have the main part of the blank, this is literally called canvas, where you can put visualization or tables or build your report here. And Power BI comes with some standard visualizations, but you could also import a customized visualization or get more visualization from a third party. On the right-hand side, we have fields that's the table we just loaded with the titles, the column title, which is called fields here. All the data are here. And for now, let's say I want to see where does my profit come from. So I will put a map on my canvas. I will drag the country into location, drag my profit into size. In this case, it's size of the bubble. You can see the visualization already automatically geocodes your country. If you have more detailed address that's standardized, the visual will be able to locate it too. I'll showcase that in a later report. But it's very hard to see what's the profit for each country. What I would do here is add a supplement table right next to my visual with the country. I'll probably add current contract value and my profit data. This case, I not only have the math of where my profit comes from and my actual data. The cross-filtering feature I was talking about is, let's say I want to zoom into Germany. By highlighting that bubble on the map, the table on the right-hand side filtered for me. It highlights the number that I was curious about. And let's put in a bar chart. Simple, straightforward, but tells a good story and shows comparison. In this case, I can put our business division in the axis and put our profit in value. And I want it to be color-coded by the segments. Here you see it generates a bar chart for me really quickly, just in front of your eyes. And you can see, oh, looks like I have some value that's below 0. Looks like they're enterprise segment, but what's the number? Let's go to the format pin and go ahead, turn on the data labels. Here you will see my profit for each division and each market. Now, without a time period, how do I know this is historical? What about if they have made progress, and are they always good or always bad? We can add a slicer for the time period of my report. Power BI automatically creates a date hierarchy based on your date field, and I can drag this into my slicer. You see they have year, quarter, month, and date. For my purpose, I don't really need date. I don't really need quarter, so I can just leave with year or month. This way, when I expand my slicer, I have the year and month. This slicer also cross-filter the whole page. Let's say I want to see January of 2014, February, or you can even like click, press Control and select multiple choices on your slicer. This way, all the data I can see the first quarter of 2014. This is how my profit by division by segment looking like, and this is my current contract value for that period. Bear with me, this is sample data. It might not make a whole lot of sense, but after this, we'll move forward to some actual data we build. This report looks good enough for me. I want to share with my colleagues now. What I will do is I will save this report as my demo. And publish it to a Power BI service. All right, let's open this in the browser to look at it. There we go. Just to make sure I'm looking at the most current report, I hit refresh. And this is basically what you build, and is what you get is what you see. But you also have the ability to still interact with your report. Now, I want to share it with my colleague. You can simply do that by clicking on the share button here. And because it's Microsoft product, it's already connected to our directory. I can just put in Natalie's name and her email pops up. I could also modify her access here, and this is a pretty similar interface that we all are familiar with. If you share words or Word document or Excel document with your colleague, and hit send, and Natalie will receive an email notification saying that I have shared this report with her. This is a very, very basic, simplified Power BI demonstration. You could use Power BI to connect to different data sources and pull together a report. But I want to let everybody know that if you're interested in building a report and from a data governance and security perspective, our IT group, myself, would love to be involved and help you build a report that's relevant for your department and useful to you, and build the most efficient data structure in the back end. Now let's head over to some of the report we already built. There you go. To spotlight some of how we've been using Power BI. So this report is what we built for our Bay Branch fire debris removal project. For those of you who are not familiar with the disaster response project, every billable contractor action is monitored by a third-party consultant. They're issuing a ticket for all of the billable disaster response action we're taking in the field, which is great. So we have a lot of data at our disposal. In the last few years, we have accumulated some experience in understanding this type of project and have developed some of the key performance metrics that will affect our contract performance and built a report based on that. You can see the first overview page. We have total debris removed by class and the status on the top. And we have it monitored by county as well to do a comparison between the counties. And because of the nature of this type of project, we know every action unit price, and we could do the revenue projection on a much frequent basis, almost daily. Every actionable, every billable action that after the data comes in, we can project the revenue we can receive. Here we can move on to, here you can plot all the properties that's been affected by the California wildfire and utilize this GIS visualization to plan your crew's action, making sure they're going to the properties in the most efficient approach. Historically, we understand re-scrape soil could be a potential risk item to our bottom line, or could be a contractual issue. So we would want to keep a close tab on our re-scrape status. What we do is we can develop a more detailed analysis report based on our re-scrape data. And so we can identify the anomalies and see if there are actions we need to take to mitigate the risk first, or if we have justifications for the anomaly before client comes down to us. We also have the ability to tie in data from different sources. Say, if we have access to different branches, then we can pull them together for comparison. And you can slice and dice it to your liking and making so that you are looking at the data that's relevant to you. Next, let's jump over to one of our construction projects. This is the report that we built for Camp Lejeune Rebuild program. You see we have a lot of tabs here that we tied in our WIP report, our financials, schedule, the internet, and quality. A lot of these data are from, some of these data are from the RFI register and from our submittal register, or from our daily report app. In some of the QC are very familiar with this. Instead of doing their job are very paperwork heavy. And so on top of doing the daily report, they also have to generate different logs, the preparatory logs, initial meeting logs, the rework list, the material inspection list. Now all of this will be automated, and after submitting their daily report, we can generate the log for them whenever they need to. And moving forward, we'll have the safety deficiency log automated, and this is going to free our field employee a lot of time to actually monitor subcontractors' performances instead of tied down to their desktop and doing a lot of report. For our safety matrix, we are monitoring our daily safety observations closely by different type and different programs. We're also tracking our safety matrix, recordable incident matrix, comparing it to our to the industry standard. Next, we can hop over to our administrative side. On the corporate level, you see we in US we have COVID vaccine mandate. In order to comply with that, we are tracking the vaccination rate by office. In this particular report, we have mapped out our offices and have a chart to show our vaccination rate per office with a table for details. Because this mandate is only applicable to our US employee, we also have the ability to only looking at US employee and our vaccination rate. Looks like we're doing pretty good. Next, I want to introduce the few months back, we've done an ECC diversity and inclusion survey where I have taken the data to put it in Power BI and I did some analysis as well. This particular page, I compared the demographic layout of the 143 response received to our overall employee demographic and see if our survey results are largely reflecting our employee base as a whole. And next page, we have the time and locations that the survey results comes in. This little bar chart does show you that we have spikes on the day that we send our reminder emails. That the data is showing that the little nudge reminder email is very effective when our goal is to receive more response. I want to highlight this interesting little module here. It's called Q&A visual. What it does is Power BI has some machine learning algorithm in the backend to trying to understand your data. You can ask a question about your data in your natural language. They do give us some of the suggestions, but let me show an example. If I want to know how many survey results are by our Hispanic group, I can simply ask that question and it will pop up the results for me. I want to preface this is not perfect. There is not an actual robot in the back and trying to understand you. But this way, if you are asking a question that doesn't automatically respond to you, you will have the option to notify the report author, which will be very helpful for us as the report builder to understand what our readers are curious about. Perhaps we can build in reports that answers your question so that it just gives you the result that you want. Next, last example is this is a report I just built of our CPARS evaluation summary. Historically, we've done this report in Excel. It's a very comprehensive report that we're tracking a lot of data and dissect it differently. The good thing about Power BI is you only need to do that work one time. We can automate the cleansing and consolidation process. And for this case, we have the data all the way from 2014. But if I want to look at some of the more timely or relevant C-parse evaluation, I can select the time period that I want, and let's say I only want to know the final results. By selecting that on that page, I have filtered the table of the C-parse we received and the chart down here. Say I am curious about how many projects are the build-up for the 65% of very good and exceptional rating C-parse that we received. We can right-click here to the drill through detail of the rating we received. You see the filters are carried over for this, the market, the type of evaluation, and the time period that we want to review. We have 7 unique projects, and these are the detailed C-parse review for received in this division. I want to encourage you, those are a lot of features that may or may not be relevant to you, but I want to encourage you to put in your data, the data that's available to you, and ask a question about it. BI is most valuable when it's answering your questions. Quite a few colleagues have already tapped into Power BI and it's building very, very good complex reports. But that's my point is, you are the owner of your data. You know it the best. Dump in an Excel file, dump in connect to an app that you're using, and you analyze the report and see if what the data is telling you. Here I listed a few examples of what Power BI could be useful for different areas of our business. Though we're in the traditional industry, there's no shortage of business data. Yes, you can see in our accounting, project control and finance warehouse, we're already utilizing Vena. I think what Power BI could be helpful is on top of Vena's database, we could build standardized MOR review reports that making sure everybody is looking at the updated data and comparing apples to apples. On the HR's warehouse, we already have the hiring cost. We already have employee retention rate. But instead of doing the periodic review or asking someone to pull this data for me and do the analysis, do the calculation for me on monthly or a quarterly basis, I can automate this process and Power BI will give me the latest data whenever I want it. On the IT's warehouse, of course, we have tons of data that they could analyze, and one of them could be the spending analysis that we could monitor our software, hardware spending throughout the year and not waiting to the year end to do that. On the proposal and marketing side, we are tracking the opportunities, and but we can automate this process and have, once this opportunity is publicized on government side, we can have it automatically flow into our evaluating system, let's say the go no go system or BD system, so that they are we don't have to wait for someone to manually enter this opportunity. If somebody's on PTO, somebody's forget, and then we don't have those problems anymore. And on the project operations side, that we're already seeing the disaster relief project, disaster response project, and our construction project. But it's not one size fits all, and you can build a BI report that fits your need. collectively, the program level, they might want to build a higher level consistent report to compare the matrix side by side. But for your particular project, you're still able to build your report based on your project's nature and your need and your risk profile. Okay, so that is now is the moment we've talked about is for our very, very short 3-minute quiz. And Natalie, could you kindly post a quiz link to the chat?
Yep, and just did. Awesome.
And please click on the link and take a few minutes to, I guarantee it won't take you more than 3 to 5 minutes to complete this quiz. Natalie will be monitoring the result, and for now it's 10:40. Can you announce the winner at 1:50 in about 10 minutes?
Yep,
Great.
sure.
Awesome. So I'll give you a few minutes.
And while everybody's doing the quiz too, I know we wanted to give you guys a couple minutes, but we wanted to open it up to Q&A at this point. If you guys have any questions for Olivia, feel free to ask out in the open or through the chat. I guess I'll start. So Olivia, if I wanted to implement Power BI within the data that I'm currently working with, what's the best way to go about this? Do we contact you directly to help us, or what's your process around this?
You can always contact me, and if you feel confident and you have the data already available to you, I encourage you to dump it in and take a try. And bring your questions with you when you're building the report. What do I want to understand from this set of data? That say, from learning and development perspective, I want to know I think you might already have those data, like who are my top learners and what aspect of the training are most popular, why is it most popular, and for people in different discipline of our business, if they are QC managers, if they're construction managers, are they receiving the refreshers they need for their job? That's job specific for them. You can also always contact me, and we can work on it and brainstorm some of the reports together. I'll be the first one to admit Power BI has some limitations, just like any other software. And there might be a learning curve, but we're all here to help, and IT could help, web dev could help, and if there are the same information and the web dev have or IT have, we can see how we can make that available, so we're not duplicating the work.
Great, thank you. Does anybody else have any questions?
It's fascinating and powerful stuff there, Olivia. We'll have to let it simmer for a little bit to figure out how I can utilize this cool new tool you got going. Well done.
Sure, thanks. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, and I do have a question from Victor in the chat. It says, is there some kind of decision process on when you continue to do this analysis in Excel versus moving it to Power BI?
Well, Excel definitely has its use, and it's very familiar to a lot of our users. I would say if you find yourself repeating the same steps in Excel over and over again, or you find yourself keep having to dissect the data differently for different readers, Power BI will come in very handy for this purpose. It can automate the cleansing and consolidation steps. It can create dynamic visualizations or reports for your purpose. For me, I think that will be some of the criteria I would switch over to Power BI.
Okay, great. And then another question just popped in. Can this be used to search for errors and inconsistencies in Excel data like DCAA's EZ Quant? That's from James Maury.
James, hi James. I am not familiar with DCA's EZ Quant, but for the purpose of searching for, I guess depends on the data set and what kind of inconsistency you're looking for. Excel is actually great in that aspect of if you need to look at all the data and identify the inconsistencies on the same table. I think Excel might be, in this use case, Excel, it depends. I guess I'll have to look at it. But for this use case, Excel, if Excel is doing the work you need to do, then, oh, just a side note, Power Query is also, can also be included in Excel. You could automate some of the cleansing or reorganizing steps just within Excel without having to jump to Power BI.
Okay, so I've got another one, Olivia. Does Power BI, and this is from Lily, does Power BI help us clean data, remove outliers, duplicates, etc.?
Yes, I do that all the time. I don't always have the perfect data set. It is very common that we have to clean up the data. And if you know some of the data, like some of the common mistakes we can see from we call dirty data set, you see misspell of reports or something, you can build in that cleansing steps so that whenever you refresh the underlying data set, it always correct those common issues for you. Or you can always remove duplicates in Power Query as well. Hope that answers your question.
Okay, great. Any other questions? All right. Well, if there's no other questions, Olivia, would you like for me to announce the winner of the quiz?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So Rich Fryer, you were the first one to complete with the highest score of 20. So Rich, you'll be receiving a $25 gift card.
Great. I'll go buy some coffee. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congratulations.
Well, if there are no other questions for Olivia, I just want to thank you, Olivia, for taking the time to walk us through what BI does and the demo and how we can utilize it within our own work. Again, don't hesitate to reach out to Olivia if you'd like to implement some of the really cool features that Power BI can provide your department or your area. And any final words, Olivia, on your end or from anybody?
Thank you, Olivia. Great job.
Thank you, Manji. I do have a very last word. This is the message I think this whole LED series is trying to tell us is we have to take the time to sharpen our axe. I encourage everybody to utilize the talent LMS and keep attending our LED series and sharpen our axe. It is
Nice.
very essential for us to stay ahead of the curve, stay competitive in our industry. Collectively, we can build ECC's business intelligence.
Yeah, great. Thank you again. Excellent.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Olivia.
Aloha.